session they have given it to me that the air and water pollution, and then 3 to 5. So of course it is 2 hour session, it is a big session. And I hope I won't get bored. And then moreover, I want to interact with you people in between. Also, you want to have any questions, either you can post it in the chatting box, or you can raise your hand so that I can able to ask immediately. So first of all, I would like to share my presentation. Let me share first. I hope it is visible. Is it visible?
No, ma'am.
Anyone?
We can't.
It
No,
is not
can't.
visible?
Can't see.
Yeah, it is visible. Okay, fine. So that is the air and water pollution. So we will start with this. Just a second. Give me a second. Because of something, I think I want to give a brief introduction about the general environment, and then how the general environment as well as human beings are get affected by the air as well as water pollution. Jigyasa, you have raised your hand. Is there any thing you want to ask? Better, better it is. Please mute yourselves. Yes, Mr. Rajan Singh, do you want to say something? Dr. Miss Simi Lamba, please mute yourself. There is an echo. Yeah, Mr. Rajan Singh, do you want to say something? You have raised your hand. Please unmute and ask. Okay, fine. So we will start with this. Miss Simi Lamba, please mute yourself. Please mute yourself, Miss Simi. Okay, fine. With this, I would like to give a brief introduction about the general environment, because, of course, we know that especially the human health, we can say that human health is influenced by many factors. Every day we are seeing the newspapers. Whenever we will have the health problem, we will visit to the doctors, and then doctors will definitely ask you so many questions. Then in which occupation you are there, and then what sort of environment you are working. So that means there is a direct connection between the general environment as well as the human health. Then here I would like to give that there is a lot of exposure to the physical, chemical as well as biological contaminants in the general environment. So protecting human health from these environmental contaminants is a most important as an integral part of any national government mission. So generally, the healthcare professionals or healthcare scientists, they will evaluate the we can say that the extent to which the people are exposed to the contaminants, and then whatever it is the occupation, so the contaminants, maybe it is an air or water or in the soil pollution also, and then how these exposures affect the human health. So these things matters at all levels of exposure which are harmful in nature. So just I would like to give the introduction about, and then how the everyone of us are sustained by the natural resources like food or materials and the energy that are harvested, or otherwise we can say that we can extract it from the environment. So our greedy needs for those resources is of course absolute, and then we cannot survive without them also. So if you will see the very first slide, that the food, animals, water, and then sunlight, and then minerals, all these without them we can't survive. And moreover, the same is absolutely true for all the other species also, not only human beings. And every organism, they, those who are the component of the general ecosystem, definitely provides the means of the sustenance. So on the whole, collectively, so the needs as well as the activities of the people, which are directly linked to the human economy. So the issues which are related to the environmental problems, and also extremely they are diverse in nature, and also they are interact in various ways despite of their complexity, and then environmental issues that can be studied in the aggregation. So there are various categories are there. That means they can cause the as well as the consequences of the rapidly increasing the human population. That is the most important factor which we can discuss is the human population growth, and also the use and depletion of the natural resources, and also the damage caused by the pollution and disturbances like endangerment of the biodiversity, and also the causes of the adverse health effects. So this is with this brief introduction, and then we would like to go to the other slides, and then other mm, what is that sequences of this one. So these are the some of the environmental problems. So these are the causes as well as the consequences of the human population growth, and then use and depletion of the natural resources because of the increase in the population, and also damage caused by the pollution and disturbances, and also cause the adverse health effects. And there is a direct linkage between the people as well as the natural environment. So I would like to showcase this slide a little bit more, because this is, if you will understand the linkage directly with the human health. So that means there are if you will see the universe first, and then large numbers of associated planets are also there. So our Earth is also one of the particular planet, and then there is a fact that Earth is an extraordinarily special place because the human life or other or any life can exist in that. So we can consider the universe at various hierarchical levels, and also the scale that is ranges from the extremely small like subatomic particle, and also photons, and also what is that large group of bodies like galaxies, and ultimately the universe. So this is an entire system where we are living. So that's why I want to give this a small introduction piece. And if you will see the segments of the environment, there are so many segments are there, just like which are depicting in this one. So the surroundings, the physical biological factors along with the chemical interactions that definitely affect the organism or group of organisms. So the environment that can vary in scale from the microscopic level to the global extent, like the total surroundings of the living organisms, and then where we are there. Just to begin with the atmosphere, there are hydrosphere, atmosphere, lithosphere, anthrosphere, as well as the biospheres. So all these spheres, without these spheres we can't survive. So that is also one of the just introduction piece I would like to give. And if you will go to the atmosphere, this is a protective blanket that we everybody know. characteristic features of the hydrosphere, if we will consider that one, all types of water resources are there. That means the liquid water exists in the surface of the in the form of oceans or lakes or the rivers, and also it exists below ground, that is groundwater, and also the entire amount, not only the liquid water but the frozen part of the earth's hydrosphere is also there, that is in the form of ice or in the form of glaciers or ice caps or the icebergs. So the water collects in the clouds that fall to the earth in the form of rain or snow. So these are that means there is a the whatever it is, the collection of the water then evaporates into the atmosphere to start the cycle all over again. So, in general, the hydrosphere that explains better about the water cycle. And then we'll move on to the lithosphere. Of course, we know that solid particles are the outer part of the earth. We will call it as a lithosphere. And also, of course, it is there is a
Hello, ma'am. No screen is visible.
Yeah, I think she's having network problem.
Not even audible.
Hello, can anybody listen or can see the screen?
No, ma'am left the meeting.
So what should we do? Should stay with this meeting or we have to rejoin?
Maybe we have to be wait for some time.
Wait for some time.
Yes, we have to wait for some time.
Should we stay more? Or?
मैडम साउंड नहीं आ रही है मैडम। साउंड नहीं आ रही है मैडम।
मैडम है ही नहीं।
क्या डिस्कनेक्ट हुआ या छोड़ दिया? हेलो।
लगता है छोड़ दिया है वो, मैम चली गई है।
अरे बाप रे, ये कैसे? आप सब भी अपने व्हाट्सएप का अपना ग्रुप बना लीजिए ना प्लीज, ताकि कोई प्रॉब्लम हो तो कम से कम हम एक दूसरे से शेयर तो कर सकें।
Yes, definitely.
हेलो।
नंबर कैसे शेयर करेंगे उस पे?
जिस तरह से हम कम्युनिकेट कर रहे हैं अभी, वैसे अपना शेयर कर लें नंबर, और तो क्या है।
कोई एक ईमेल आईडी दे दीजिए, इस पे कम्युनिकेट हो जाएगा।
हाँ वो ठीक रहेगा।
मैं भी, कोई भी सीनियर हो वो तैयार हो जाए तो एक अपना व्हाट्सएप का पूरा ग्रुप तैयार हो जाए।
सर आप ही हो जाइए।
ग्रुप बनाया जाता
नहीं,
है।
नहीं।
Hello.
अब तक किसी ने
Please write.
हेलो
Please
अब
write
तक
your number in chat box so we can create our WhatsApp.
अब तक किसी ने असाइनमेंट्स सबमिट किए हैं क्या हमारे ग्रुप में?
मैंने कर दिया।
कैसे कर दिया आपने? सॉफ्ट कॉपी क्या?
नहीं सॉफ्ट कॉपी नहीं, हार्ड कॉपी बना के अभी मैंने परसों ही सबमिट करके आया था।
ओके।
सारे कंप्लीट कर दिए आपने?
हाँ, दो ही पेपर थे मेरे, एक प्रोजेक्ट था और एक लैब था, तो
अच्छा,
दो
अच्छा,
मैंने कर लिए थे।
अच्छा,
आपके
अच्छा।
2 ही पेपर कैसे?
हाँ, दो इलेक्टिव थे और 2 कंपलसरी थे, तो 2 लेके, और इलेक्टिव का तो वो ये बोले कि वो शायद अपने आप कम्युनिकेट करेंगे कि कब प्रोजेक्ट वगैरह है, कब उनको वर्कशॉप लेना है।
ओके ओके।
अच्छा।
लास्ट डेट ऑफ असाइनमेंट सबमिशन इज आई थिंक 16th of October.
अक्टूबर, हाँ कुछ अक्टूबर में है।
Hello. Hello, class.
बेटर है बंद करते हैं, इससे बेटर आप एक बार मैं नंबर शेयर कर लेते हैं, आप कोई एक नोट कर लीजिए, फिर एक ईमेल आईडी बता दीजिए, उस पर नंबर शेयर कर देते हैं।
Hello, please take a minute.
आप लोग नोट कर लीजिए, बता देंगे।
एक्चुअली ना चैट बॉक्स में अपना नाम और नंबर, कॉन्टेक्ट व्हाट्सएप नंबर शेयर कीजिए, तो एक जन एडमिन बनके, ग्रुप एडमिन बनके वो ग्रुप क्रिएट होगा।
ये चैट बॉक्स आता किधर है?
एक मिनट।
इसमें नहीं है चैट बॉक्स।
रहेगा
हेलो,
ना?
वहाँ पे बाजू में 3 डॉट है ना, वहाँ पे क्लिक कीजिए। हाँ, तो वहाँ पे
हाँ।
इन कॉल मैसेजेस है, इन कॉल मैसेजेस, वहाँ पे जाके आप वहाँ पे आपका नाम और
ओके ओके
नंबर।
ओके 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 यस।
असाइनमेंट कहाँ से पता चलेगा कि कौन कौन से असाइनमेंट हमें बनाने हैं?
वो तो वेबसाइट पे है शायद, वेबसाइट पे दिए हुए हैं सारे।
क्योंकि मतलब सबके सेपरेट है या कि सबके सिमिलर ही है?
नहीं नहीं, सबके सिमिलर होगा, बस इसका इस सेशन का हमको सेलेक्ट करना है, जो जुलाई वाला जो सेशन है उसका
हाँ
सेलेक्ट
जी।
करना है, वो दिया हुआ है।
अच्छा ठीक है। असाइनमेंट से क्या हेडिंग हेडिंग ओपन करना उसमें होंगे?
कुछ हाँ हाँ हाँ, उसी में असाइनमेंट का जो है उसमें ये अपना कोर्स का कोड डाल के आ जाएगा।
ठीक है, ओके।
मधुसूदन सर,
हाँ जी।
हाँ आप ये इनिशिएशन लीजिए ये ग्रुप बनाने का।
मैडम मैं इतना फोन का इतना फिर यूज करता नहीं, जो मेरे को इतना आइडिया है नहीं कि व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप वगैरह के।
आपके असाइनमेंट्स कंप्लीट हुए हैं ना?
हाँ मैं असाइनमेंट
इसलिए
हाँ।
आपको टाइम है ना?
ये बात तो सही है। सर ये लीजिए सर आप जिम्मेदारी।
So, am I audible? When did? Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Abhi,
yeah.
just now we are audible.
हाँ।
No, no. Previously, how many slides you have seen?
Only two.
Has Mehmet joined? Okay.
So, how many slides you have seen?
Two, ma'am.
It's only 2 men.
Oh. So I was keep on speaking. Is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am.
So all these you have missed?
Yes.
Oh,
We were there, lithosphere.
okay, fine. So we will skip all those things and then I'll start with these atmospheric effect. So is it audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Some noise is coming over here.
मनमोहन सर आपका स्पीकर म्यूट कीजिए.
Yeah, now it's fine. Okay, fine. So if we will see these atmospheric effects, if we will directly, we'll start with that the air pollution. So previous slides we have seen that the how it is. So you were missed this one. So energy flow from the tropic levels and the how the suns release the radiation in the form of heat, and then how it will transform into the first trophic levels. That is the producers, that is the plants, and second trophic levels, and third trophic levels, and fourth trophic levels, and all these finally it will come to the tertiary consumers, that is the fourth trophic levels. So if we will understand this type of transformation of sun's energy, then we'll move on to the atmospheric effects. So here the
मैडम सॉरी, आपकी साउंड बहुत कम आ रही है मैडम।
so let me check. So is it fine now?
Yes, madam. Yes. Thank you, madam.
That's fine. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay, fine. So now, when the energy, if we will see that slide, when the energy that is from the sun that reaches the earth, and then some of the energy that will get absorbed by this earth, and some of this energy that gets radiated to the back to the space.
Again, ma'am, you are not audible.
Madam, your video has been freezed.
I have joined with my mobile data connection again.
Okay, okay.
Please pardon with me. Please bear with me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So now it is. I think I'm audible. Is it audible now?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
yes, you are very much
Yeah.
audible, madam. Please go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, fine. So, there is a shift or the transformation in the energy balance that causes the planet Earth's average temperature. It may be become warmer or it may be cooler. That depends upon the variety of other changes or also which occurs in the lower atmosphere. And also not only the lower atmosphere, if you will consider that there is a maybe it is a lower atmosphere or especially on the land or in the ocean side. So if you will see the some of the atmospheric reactions that can occur because of the sun's radiation, we can call that those type of reactions are the photochemical reactions in the atmosphere that can be done as in the presence of the sun's energy. They will absorb the energy from the photon. So according to the World Health Organization also, there is the discovery of the first photochemical reactions that in the atmosphere without having any catalyst. The catalyst would be that is the radiation itself. So there are so many chain reactions that can be occur in the general atmosphere. So if you will see the slide, there is a carbon monoxide and the hydroxyl radical, and then it gives rise to the carbon dioxide. And also whatever it is a hydrogen radical, that again it reacts with the oxygen radical that gives rise to HO2. So that means if you will see that this is a chain reaction, and then finally ultimately the product is the nitrogen oxide. So these are the most important reactions in the general atmosphere, especially in the tropospheric region, to clean up the tropospheric region. So that means in the polluted air, all these organic species that will play a major role, which are similar to the carbon monoxide. And then we will move on to the our today's topic, that is the air pollution. So here I have what is that consolidated the air pollutants primary as well as secondary in one slide. If you will see that there is a contamination of the not only in general air pollution, it is an outdoor and then indoor air pollution, we can say that. That is a maybe it is a gaseous pollutants, maybe it is a particulate matter, and also they will modify the natural characteristic features of the pollutant also once it is generated from the source to the general atmosphere. For example, if you will see that particulate matter, so particulate matter also, there are two types of particulate matter are there, whether it is a PM 2.5 or PM 10, and carbon monoxide, ozone, and then black carbon, sulfur dioxide, and then nitrogen oxides. If left hand side, if you will see on the slide, that is there are the primary air pollutants I have given that. And there are the other pollutants are also there, there is a secondary pollutants are there. And then that means I have considered these pollutants primary as well as secondary under one category. And also the second category is the natural as well as the anthropogenic air pollutants. If you will see that primary air pollutants, they are the pollutants that are directly released into the general atmosphere from the particular source of the pollution. There is a carbon monoxide is generated, and then carbon dioxide, methane, nitrogen oxide, and then nitrous oxide, and then ammonia, hydrogen sulfide, and sulfur dioxide, chlorides, fluorides, bromides. All these, that is particulate matter, are the aerosols. All these we can consider as a primary pollutants. And if we will consider the secondary pollutants, that means the primary pollutants, once they are released into the general atmosphere, they are transformed by the light energy or the heat energy, or in the presence of some other chemicals which are already existing in the general atmosphere. They are converted into toxic compounds. Those toxic compounds are the toxic elements. We can say that they are the secondary pollutants. So best example is the ozone as a secondary pollutant. So the ozone, how it will be generated? It will be generated in the presence of, that means we can call it as a photolytic reaction. So that means the catalyst here, it is the photon. That is a HNU. Normally we can write it as, because of the light reaction. So the oxides of nitrogen, that is in the subsequent reactions, the volatile organic compounds and the nitrogen dioxide and the nitric acid, that is formed from the nitric oxide, sulfuric acid, and also from the sulfur dioxide and the nitric acid. So these are the general reactions I have given over here to make you to understand. And the second type of pollutants are the natural and anthropogenic pollutants. Natural pollutants, that is a volcanic eruption, the pollutants which are generated into the general atmosphere, and also by the lightning, that is the nitrogen oxide or the nitric oxide, which is generated into the general atmosphere, and also some sea sprays and the microbial processes. If we will consider the anthropogenic activities or the anthropogenic pollutants, that is the industrial pollutants as well as the vehicular pollutants, these are the major pollutants. Normally we can consider them as a anthropogenic pollutants. And now these are some of the global challenges I want to give you, that the for the pollution is concerned. There is a meeting health-based standards, and also the limiting the climate change and reducing risks from the toxic air pollutants, and also protecting the stratospheric ozone layer. So these are the major global challenges as far as the general environmental pollution is concerned. So we have to thrive how to mitigate all these, and then how to mitigate all these global challenges, how to give the better solutions or the sustainable solutions for all these global challenges. And the national challenges are concerned, that is the meeting health-based standards. Of course, all global standards are also includes the natural national challenges, and also especially we can more focus on the economic assets as well as the overall environment. So here, the one of the statistics I would like to give, that the World Health Organization is concerned, in the 2019 itself, they have given 10 out of 20 most populated cities in the world are in India. So it is very scary statistics they have given. And based on the concentrations of the PM 2.5, India is ranked the 5th most polluted country by the World Health Organization. And also in 21 among the top 30 polluted cities, if you will see that all those 30 polluted cities are in India itself. So the Indian cities exceeds the World Health Organization threshold by 500%. So we have to understand how India or the Indian cities are heavily polluted by the air particulate. So these are the common air pollutants. Just we have seen that particulate pollution and ground level ozone pollution, and also SOx, NOx, lead, as well as the carbon monoxide. And if you will see the particulate pollution, so just I have given the make you to understand, I have given the common air pollutants, if you will see that. So especially the particulate matter. So how can we describe the size of the particulate pollutants, which we can't even imagine? So it is the structure of the hair, one human hair strand. So obviously it is 50 to 70 μm, that is a microns in diameter. And if you will see that blue beads, which we are able to see in this slide, that is a PM10 particle. So PM10 consists of the dust or the pollen or mold particles, which that means here if you will see that in one Kate strand, if you will imagine, if you will see that, and then how small PM10, and then wherever these pink beads are there, that is a PM 2.5 mu m, that is a millimicrons in the diameter. So that means they are very, very small. Sometimes we are unable to see with our naked eye. So that means all PM10 particles, that is inhalable particles with diameters that are generally 10 micrometers and smaller than that. If you will see that PM 2.5, the pink beads, they are the fine inhalable particle. That means they will enter into our nostrils. And they are generally 2.5 micrometers and less than that also. And not only that, there is another particulate matter, that is the PM1 particle is there, that is the less than 1 mu m. That is an example. The dust or the combustible particles, or we can call it, we can say that the bacteria and viruses, they are the PM1 particles. As an example, we can consider it. So how small 2.5 micrometers? Think about the, if you will see, imagine this one, and then the one of the single hair from our head. So the average human hair itself is 70 micrometers in diameter, making it 30 times larger than the largest fine particle. You can imagine that. So these particles are maybe coming from the various sizes or shapes, and also they are comprises the hundreds of different chemicals. So most of these particles in the atmosphere, as a result of the chemical reactions like sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides, which are pollutants which are emitted from the power plants, and also not only the power plants, and also the industries, and also the vehicular pollutants, where we have seen in the second category of the pollutants over there. And now we'll move on to the other example. Just I want to make you to understand how can we understand. This is the one hair strand, 50 to 70 mu m, and fine dust particle. This is in yellow color, that is in 10 mu m. And if you will see the red particle, that is the ultra fine dust particles. So they are very, very minute in nature. And if you will see the what are the health effects of, especially for the air pollutants, once it enters into the what is that into our body. So the smallest particle, that is a less than 10 micrometers. So because they are very, very small in nature, and then we can expect that we can have a greatest problems with that, because we will inhale them easily, because they can get deep into our lungs especially. So that's why if you will see that here there is a bronchiole, and then if you will see that there is a small particles and the small veins, they are the alveoli. So here if you will see that the when we will inhale these particulate matter, the PM1 particle that travel to the deepest area of the lungs, where the significant part of that especially passes through the cell membranes of the alveoli. That means the smallest millions of tiny sacs in our lungs, if you will see that. So they will directly pass into the cell membrane of the alveoli. There is a tiny sacs where the you must be knowing that the oxygen as well as the carbon dioxide gases are exchanged. And then once the exchanging of this oxygen and then carbon dioxide takes place, that directly enters into the bloodstream, and damage caused by them, the inner walls of the arteries, and then they will penetrate into the tissues in the cardiovascular system, and they will potentially spread to the different organs also. And then recently I have seen one article, and then air pollutants are directly related to the cardiovascular diseases also. So that means at the worst, PM1 that can contribute to the deadly diseases like heart attacks, lung cancers, and dementia, and edema, and also there are serious damage to the lungs, and then that leads to the premature death. And also the exposure of that sort of particles that affect the lungs as well as the heart. And there are numerous scientific studies and then papers are also published that there is a linkage between the particle pollution, that is exposure to the variety of problems like premature death and non-fatal heart attacks, irregular heartbeat, and also decreasing in the lung function, of course increased in the respiratory symptoms like that. So people, those who have the heart or the lung diseases, children also especially, And then the old elder people are also, they are most likely to be affected by the particulate pollution on the exposure. And if we will move on to the environmental effects, yes, we have seen that particulate pollutants, and then health effects, and then now we will see that the environmental effects. So that means it not only damage the human health, but also it damage the, and we can say that it damages the on the environment also. So, so here the environmental damages, if you will see that a lot of haze we are seeing. So that means the effects on the in the general atmosphere, and here in the next one, the trees and then leaves which are fallen, and then they are changing their color also. And also not only that, under the water, and also the statutory, the statues, you can see that. So here we have seen that there is a, especially the ozone, which is a secondary pollutant, we can say that, and the air pollution that affects the marine ecosystem also. That maybe one example I would like to give, the acidification of lakes, or the eutrophication, or the mercury accumulation in the aquatic food. And similarly, it is just like a soil acidification also, another phenomena that is most common in the forest ecosystem. And also the long term accumulation of that directly affects the ecosystem of the plants, animals, and also the nutritional intake. So there is a nitrogen deposition in wet as well as the dry forms on the vegetation, or if you will see that the what is that defoliation or the discoloration of the plants, as well as the increase the pest attacks, especially we can observe. And also there is another pollutant, that is also ozone, that is it is both toxic to both plants as well as the animals. And also it is, and directly it is reduces the photosynthesis of the plants, and also there is a slow growth in the plants. Moreover, we will see that the reproductive performance of the animals as well as the plants, and then they will are drastically decreased. And also the damage of buildings, if you will see those structures, the how these damage has been taking place only because of the air pollution, and also the nitric acid which is formed and then resulted in the acid rain. So the historical monument in India, especially the Charminar in Hyderabad, and also the Taj Mahal in Delhi, so they are also turning the Charminar, of course, so many times they are repeatedly they have telecasted in TVs, that turning black because of the because it is situated in the highly polluted area. And also there is a erosion in that sort of heritage zones, that definitely given a bad picture for the environmental issues are concerned. And move on to the sources. Of course, there is a along with the anthropogenic sources, there is a vehicular pollution is also there. So there is a transportation sector is the main contributor for the air pollutants. So that means almost every city, that means the urban cities or the rural cities nowadays, because of the increased number of the vehicles when compared to the existing infrastructure facilities, whether it is a road construction, or because of the fuel stations, or the, or we can say that public transportation. So these type of the pollutants, that is a carbon monoxide, NOx, these are the major pollutants, that is the volatile organic compounds. And also some trace emissions are also there, like methane and carbon dioxide or oxygen of sulfur, and also TSP, normally we can call it as, that is a totally suspended particles. And another most important thing is the road dust, that is also major contributor for the particulate matter emission, especially in India. So, as far as the Indian context is concerned, some of the significant factors of the high traffic emissions, like lack of exhaust measures, they are highly heterogeneous in nature. There are varieties of vehicles normally we are seeing on the roads, and poor quality of fuel also. So, the vehicular emission is one of the most important anthropogenic sources for the ground level volatile organic compounds in both urban as well as the suburban regions. And then there are 57 volatile organic compounds are releases because of the vehicular pollution. And then out of 57, there is a critical surface ozone, that is a precursor, that means that is the that is the initiator, we can say that, to generate the ozone is the isopentane. And also a trace of the gasoline evaporation, that is the most abundant, what we can call it as a volatile organic compound in the roadside samples, and followed by the isobutane and benzene. These are also toxic compounds, which are the largest composition of the 70% of the gasoline fuel vehicles on the road. So there is a results of the what we can call it as a positive matrix factorization. That is one of the models they have given to understand and then evidence the precise characterization of the vehicular emission sources from the what we can call it as the sources. And also there are other components are also there, that is a ozone formation potential, that is one of the measures. And then propylene is also there, 20%, then 1 butene, and then isopentane, to name some of the toxic compounds which are generated from the vehicular emissions, which are the most important contributors, especially from the vehicular emission at the roadside. And if we'll move on to the industrial pollution, industrial pollution is concerned. Of course, in the last few decades, we have observed that India has witnessed, especially because we are in the transition stage of the developing as well as the developed nations. So the industrialization, of course, it is definitely degraded the air quality in most urban cities. So the Central Pollution Control Board, the CPCB, they categorize the polluting industries into, of course, 15 to 17 types. So there may be a small and then medium scale also. And out of these 17 types of categories, there are 7 have been marked as critical industries, that like iron industry, steel, sugar, paper, cement, to name few of the fertilizer, and then aluminum industries. So all these industries, they are emitting the suspended particulate matter, SOx, NOx, as well as the carbon dioxide emissions. And also the small scale industries, they are also not regulated like major industries. They will use the several ways of energy source apart from the primary source. But these fuels are also use of the biomass, plastic, as well as the crude oil. So these energy sources are neglected in the current emission of this vehicular, of the industrial emissions. And then next we'll move on to the other source, is the agricultural source. And then every year at the time of the March or April, we are noticed the severe air pollution, and also severe, there is a asthmatic patients. The number of asthmatic patients are increasing. So why this is happening? So the agricultural activities that produce the emissions, that have the potential to the pollute the general environment as well as the health of the human beings, especially over here, that is the ammonia, which is, and also the another one, that is a nitrous oxide. They are the key pollutants which are released from the agricultural activities. And also the other pollutants are also there. There's a methane emission is also there, that will generated from the fermentation process, and the nitrogen excretion from the animal manure, and also the just like that methane and nitrous oxide, and from the wetlands, and the nitrogen emissions from the agricultural soils, because of the why especially the nitrogen oxide is generated because from the agricultural areas, because of the addition of the fertilizers, and also the residues which are present on the soil. So agricultural processes like the what we can call it as slash or burn, these are the primary reasons for the photochemical smog, which is resulting from the smoke which is generated during the process. So the crop residue burning also there, that is a stubble burning, normally we can call it as, that is also releases the toxic air pollutants. And we will move on to the other source of the air pollutants, that is the pollutants which are released from the power plant. So we normally we won't realize that all these are contributing to the major air pollutants. So the contribution from the power plants to air emissions in India especially is both, means we can call it as it is a very high degree, we can say that. So the thermal power plants, especially, they will manufacture, of course, 70 to 80% of the total power which is generated in India. So the energy as that TERI, that is a TERI organization, that is the Energy and the Resource Institute, the emissions of sulfur dioxide as well as the nitrogen oxides and also the particulate matter, that increased more than 50 times from the previous era. That means in the 19th century or the 20th century, we can call it. So that means the thermal power plants are the main sources for the sulfur dioxide as well as the totally suspended particle emissions, and then contribute significantly for the air pollution. And also it is, there is an urgent need, we can say that, to change or to shift or to adopt the sustainable solutions or the sustainable alternative power sources like green as well as renewable resources for meeting the energy what is that needs requirements, we can say that. So these are the some of the, of course there is a lot of greenhouse gas emissions are also there, and then a lot of scientific reports, and then they are showing, and the scientists are showing that there is there is an increase in the greenhouse gas emissions, and also increasing in the in the interest of the green building technologies and then applications of the green infrastructure. And these are the some of the mitigative measures one can adopt. And we'll move on to the effects of the air pollution. That is just I have given the what is that equations. Please don't go into that equations. Just the effects of the air pollution is the especially the industrial smog. So the industrial smog, that is the finally we can the main product from the industrial smog, that is a solid ammonium sulfate. So these are the reactions. Once these compounds are generated from the industries, once they will release into the general atmosphere, of course you can't stop, because it is a chain reactions are going, because the existing already chemicals, they will give a synergistic effect. And then ultimately it will form the final product as a solid ammonium sulfate. Once it is enters into the atmosphere, they will deposit on the human beings as well as the structures as well as the plants, and then it will continue to damage and then have the adverse effects. And the second one is the photochemical smog. Of course, it is a mixture of hundreds of primary and secondary pollutants formed under the influence of the sunlight. Just I have given that for your understanding sake, and then how it will be generated, and then how it will damage the our air. And this is the photochemical smog, that is a local topography, that means depends upon the geological factors and how the areas are generated, and then what is the geographical area, and how the climate of that particular area, whether it is a high area, a high pressure, or it is a population density, as well as the use of the fossil fuels. So all these are depending upon the contributors, we can say that, the photochemical smog. So and then once the photochemical smog is the result of the air pollutants which are emitted by the anthropogenic activities, and then there is a directly link of the health effects, that is the asthma, first cause. And these are the some of the again I have given the elaborated photochemical smog. Once it is, how it will generate, and then what are the chemical pollutants which are emerged into that one. So nitrogen dioxide, nitric oxide, ozone, and then finally this is the most culprit as well as the toxic air pollutant, peroxyacetyl nitrate. So this is the overall reaction in the presence of UV radiation. Ozone, that is pan, and other particulate matter, these are the toxic chemicals which are emitted into the atmosphere. And this is the just I have given that how it will releases the industries, and then how vehicular pollution that will cause the air pollution, and then how the toxic chemicals are entering into the this one. And this is the most important phenomena I would like to give, that one, that is the acid rain. These are the redox reactions I have given that to make you to understand that. That means in chemistry, some of the reactions we will call it as a oxidation reactions, reduction reactions, redox reactions, and then addition reactions, substitution reactions. So that means we will theoretically we will learn in the textbooks. but actually practically in general atmosphere they all are, these reactions are happening in nature every day, but it is unnoticed. So if you will see that, just I have given that how these uh, um, uh, uh, um, how these acid depositions, whether it is a wet deposition, whether it is a dry deposition, or the sulfuric acid and nitric acid which are formed in the atmosphere that fall onto the ground, mixed with the rain or snow or fog, or and then we will see the dry deposition, the acid particles and gases that can, how they are deposit from the atmosphere in the absence of the what the moisture. So these are there is the on the surfaces of the water bodies or the vegetation, like that. So here it is a decreasing. What will happen once the acid rain, that is a natural sources over here I have given, and then here we have given the anthropogenic sources, and what they will do, that is a decrease in the soil pH and decrease in the pH of water bodies, and there the respiratory problems are also there, and they create the metal articles or the pipes, as well as they damage the crops. So this is about the acid rain. And next, these are the some of the greenhouse gases I have given. I want to give that brief introduction about that: methane, nitrous oxide, carbon dioxide, ozone, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, and chlorofluorocarbons, as well as the water vapor. All these greenhouse gases are emitted by the anthropogenic activities as well as the natural activities also. But they are existing in the general atmosphere, which pollutes the air. So, of course, once the greenhouse gases are there, and then there is a global warming, there is an average temperature of that ground, and some of the infrared radiation, whatever the atmospheric effects in the beginning, we have seen that, and some of the infrared radiation that passes through the atmosphere, but most of the radiation will be get absorbed and re-emitted to the all directions by the greenhouse gas molecules, and the effect normally we can call it as a greenhouse effect. And just I want to give a greenhouse, what natural, what are the human made greenhouse. And also here, if you will see that the car parking on the in the sun, we can say that without the shed. So the after 1 hour, if you will see that, if you will observe, I hope you must have, everybody must have observed that once we will open and then sit, all the steering seats, everything will get hot, and then a lot of heat generated and then get absorbed and trapped inside. So outside it is 80 degrees and inside it is 90 degrees. So you can understand that how much the radiation will get absorbed under the absorbed by the interiors of the car, just like the greenhouse effect. So that means, just I want to give that how the average levels, the surface temperatures will rise by this trapping of energy, the trapping of sun's heat, and then because of the atmospheric greenhouse gases. And these are the some of the we can skip also that what type of radiations are there: UVA, UVB, UVC radiation, and then how they will penetrate. And UVC, it will stop only in that level itself, and then UVB, UVA radiation, it will enters into the tropospheric region, and then it will pass into the stratospheric ozone also. These are the some of the examples I have given. So we will skip these, and then how the ozone will be depleted, and how ozone molecule is formed, we have given. So these are the some of this is important one. Now we have to mitigate. How to mitigate? So the government also, the because there are the standards, and students must be asking, and then they have the what is that doubts they have, that what are the air quality standards. So there is an of course there is an acceptable threshold level of air pollution also there in terms of the potential impacts of the health as well as the environment. Normally the government has given that ambient air quality standards. So every standard, they have a standalone definition, we can say that. So that means the technological know-how, and also the national ambient air quality standards in the especially in almost all countries, the values which are prescribed by the World Health Organization are the criteria one has to follow. So if you will see the mitigation strategies of the vehicular emissions, especially how we can stop the vehicular emissions, especially in India. So we are talking about our country itself. The central as well as the state governments, they have taken several steps to control the air pollution. Of course, you must have experienced that is various initiatives they have taken by use of the compressed natural gas (CNG) as an alternative fuel, and also there is an introduction of the Bharat Stage 6 vehicles and fuel standards, and then Pradhan Mantri Ujjwal Yojana, that is also PMUY, and also National Clean Air Program is also there. And these are some of the examples the government has taken the initiative. So the Central Pollution Control Board as well, that ensures the regulations of the NAC, that is a National Ambient Air Quality Standards in the cities, and also with the help of the state pollution control boards. So otherwise it is very difficult. So for the transportation sector also, there is a government initiative. Nowadays, you must be seeing that there are so many, what is that, electric vehicles as a mode of public transportation. So development of cycling infrastructure is also there, and then use of the bioethanol is also there. And there is a, what is that, the open burning of the garbage and household waste irrespective of this one. And there is 100% usage of the LPG for cooking. So these are some of the measures we can appreciate, and also the government initiatives to mitigate this one. So to mitigate the agricultural activities, these are the some of the adoptions, we can say, the nutrient management techniques, we can say, and then using the conservation drainage practices, and also the planting field buffering, and then managing the livestock access. These are some of the mitigating measures the agricultural emissions are. We can mitigate the agricultural, what is that, what we can say that, practices, sustainable practices. And for the industry's sake, make switch to the clean energy sources. And also we have to go for the alternative technology to destroy the pollutants at the source, and also non-toxic materials to manufacture goods, and also more effective enterprise planning techniques should be used for the under the skill development or whatever the especially for the industry is concerned. And there is an IPCC report also, that is the estimates the chances of crossing the global warming level of 1.5 degree in the next decade. So 2 degrees, that will be beyond our reach, and it is most important. And also one has to think about that, how these greenhouse gases are the are how to mitigate these greenhouse gases from the what is that, generation or the source point of view. So to at least to get rid of this air pollution. And this is also the same IPCC report. I'll share these slides so that you will go through that one, and then previously how much it was there, and then now how it is increasing day by day, and then how the global countries in global level also, how the European countries are also having the alternative methods to decrease the vehicular emission, as well as the how to mitigate the air pollution. And these are the effects of the human health, what we have already discussed. And there is a headache, and then central nervous system because of the particulate matter, and the cardiovascular diseases because of the particulate matter, ozone, and then sulfur dioxide. And there is an eye, ear, nose, throat irritation, and difficulty in breathing because of these air pollutants, and respiratory irritation, inflammation, infection, and lung cancer because of the particulate matter. And also, and then because of the particulate matter, there is a low birth weight or the premature birth, especially in females, and impaired lung development, possible birth defects, and possible autism also reported, especially in this. So these are the some of the factors about the air pollution. And then we will move on to the water pollution. I will take up the questions at the end after completion of that, and then quickly I will go through the water pollution. Please bear with me. So because 2 hours I have been given to speak that one. And of course, as such, the sources are concerned for any types of pollution, they are moreover they are similar, we can say that. So the water pollution, of course, we know that what is that the how we can define the water pollution, and depends upon the water quality. That means the contamination of water, that means water sources that can cause the water unfit for drinking purpose, or unfit for cooking purpose, unfit for usage or the other activities, either for the cleaning or for swimming activities or any recreational purposes. So there are chemicals, there are garbage, bacteria, parasites. There are number of pollutants which are emitted because everything we are dumping into the water. So of course, water eventually, once it is contaminated by all types of pollution, lakes, oceans, they are and then contaminated by the air pollution, also land contamination, and also because of that contamination of the underground stream, rivers, and ultimately everything will enters into the oceans. So that means the pollutants which are in water, they, it will not only contaminate, it will also give the harmful effects on the people, and also it will spread the diseases. So poorly treated, we can say that poorly treated industrial effluents especially, they will have the what is that they contain the bacteria, they contain the parasites, they can they will enter into the drinking water supplies also. And then of course there are number of diseases like cholera, diarrhea, and also
ହଁ ବୁଝାଉ
hazardous
ହଁ
substances
ମୁଁ
are
ଗୋଟେ
also
ବିସିରେ ଅଛି ବିସି
pesticides. There
ବିସି
is a
ବିସିରେ ଅଛି ଚାଲିଛି ଗୋଟେ ବିସି
Mr. Pradhan, can you please mute yourself?
କେଜାଣି ଆରମ୍ଭ ହେଇକି ତ ଏଇ 4ଟା ବେଳୁ
Mr. Bratin Pradhan, please mute yourself. Yeah, thank you. And also the pollutants that can cause the what is that toxic and then adverse effects on the health issues also. So there is a hazardous substances that can be maybe pesticides, maybe herbicides from the agricultural fields, that can also pollute the underground water. And if you will see that, sorry. Mm. And also in 2022, that is a global statistics is concerned, at least 1.7 billion people using the drinking water source as the contaminated with the feces. So this is a fecal material, is it is a very unpleasant experience for the humans, because there is a microbial contamination of drinking water as a result of contamination of fecal matter. It is a serious concern, unhygienic practices, we can say that. And then everybody is getting, and then because of course you people must be knowing, and then you people must have studied that there is a what is that the quality of water, we can say that once it is enters into the water bodies, they will directly, if we will consume them, or we can use for the food preparation, so these enter into our bodies. So the digestive system is exposed to the contaminants, and also the bloodstream, and also the vital organs, that lead to the number of diseases. And also if we will see that sometimes we will get the rashes on the skin also. And if you will see that if you will wash the clothes, or we will go for the swimming for the dirty water, and then you feel that there is a skin irritation, and there is a breathing problem also we can have. So that means there is a water quality monitoring system should be there to evaluate the potability of the water resource for the particular usage. So that means there is a the existence of the fecal coliform bacteria, you must have studied in your course, in the water bodies, that is polluted with the fecal substances, that is a aquatic microbial ecology and the development of parameters, and then clostridium as well as the Klebsiella. All these indicates the fecal pollution of the water. So apart from the salmonella, and then there are varieties of species are also there. There are predominant bacterial flora which is present in the sewage samples. So the scientists, the total coliform count method has been normally used as an indicator for the safety of the water. So as far as the World Health Organization is concerned, where we are focusing and then what type of criteria they have given, the permissible limits of the coliform as well as the E. coli. I think, I hope in the E. coli. So these are the some of the parameters I have given, that infectious agents are there, and then oxygen demanding waste are there, and inorganic chemicals are also there. I have given some of the examples I have given. Just I have shown you that I want to show that organic chemicals, plant nutrients, sediments, heat pollution, and radioactivity, everything, all pollutants which we are dumping into the water bodies, they will get polluted, and then they will have the adverse effects on the human health. And these are the how do we measure the water quality? Just what we are talking about, the bacterial count, that is a none per that is 100 ml of the drinking water, and then greater than 200 per 100 ml for the swimming. That means for certain criteria of usage of the drinking or the bathing, for this type of things we have to follow. That means the domestic as well as the recreation purpose, that is the what we can call it as a, there is a CFU, there is a significant measure they have given, that colony forming units are there. Most and the second measure is the most probable number is also there, depending upon the analytical method which we can use. And also the quality of water also depends upon the many physicochemical properties like conductivity, pH, and then turbidity, and then chemical oxygen demand, or the biological oxygen demand, or the TDS, that is a totally dissolved solids, sorry, alkalinity, salinity, and the presence of heavy metals also. So this is the dissolved oxygen. And then chemical analysis, that will normally we can see that how the TDS is there. And then if it is good, then it is that is a 8 to 9, and then if it is slightly polluted, it is 6 to 7, and then 8. So that means there is a parts per million. These are the particle calculation. On the basis of that, we can understand that whether it is a potable water or not, whether it has a harmful effects if we will consume. So these are the some of the factors. And then this is also one of the indicator species, that is a that is a in water quality, whatever it is the compounds which are present in that, the quality of water, especially mussels, oysters, clams, they will filter the water also. So depends upon the nature, depends upon the quality of that compounds. The quality of these are the indicators that this water is contaminated with this type of chemicals. And these are the some of the point and non-point sources where we have seen for the what we can what in the air pollution. Just like that, for this point as well as the non-point sources for the water pollution also. And then wastewater treatment plants, and then these are the point sources. And then non-point sources like suburban developments and urban streets and rural. So once they will seep into the underground, they will pollute the underground water table also, and then they will enters into the streams. So we don't know what type of sources from where the underground water are contaminated, and then they will release us into the mainstream. And these are the major sources of the water pollution from the agriculture. There is the sediments, fertilizers, bacteria. Just I have elaborated that. And the industrial factories and power plants, and effluents without treating also, they are entering into the water bodies. And from the industries, just like mining, there are toxic acids especially. And then in pharmaceutical industries also, the all types of medicines, all types of toxic chemicals which are generated and then which are released into the effluents, which are not properly treated, they will pollute the water bodies. So this is the India's best example, the river Ganges. Normally, as far as the Indian people are concerned, it is a very very pious river, and then we can call it as a holy river. Everybody wants to go once, visit, and then have it, take a dip, holy dip. Normally, we can call it as. And there is a now if we will see that there is a lot of garbage and highly polluted river. and there is a 350 million lives are the watershed. If you will see that little sewage treatment is and used for bathing, drinking, and then cremated bodies they are just thrown into the river. And also the Indian government is initiated, they are taking some measures, we can call it as, but we have to see that how far we are able to clean up the water bodies. And this is the one of the effect, we can say that biomagnification. I would like to give that. Mm, so in the biomagnification, so if you will see that there is of course there is a PCBs I have given, especially for the one example I want to give that one, because of the polychlorinated biphenyls. Of course there are more than 200 similar having the similar structure having the similar structure of the organic chemicals, that is oily liquids or the waxy solids, we can say that. Out of these more than 200, there are especially 12 PCBs are there, dioxins. They are toxic especially. And there are tetrachlorobiphenyl compounds are all there. And they are the we can say that there is a non flammable, and they are very very stable also. They are used in the free and then freely, or they are using in the coolants or the lubricants, and they are used as a electrical equipment, and the hydraulic acid or the plasticides or the pigments and dyes. It is not a single compound, we can mention that. So these compounds which have the generated and released into the atmosphere, and also and the waste byproducts of the chemical manufacturing as well as the incineration procedures. And these PCBs, how once they will enters into the body or the in the living organisms, whether maybe by the uptake of the general environment or uptake of this one, they will remain stored in our body, especially in the fatty tissue, more than in that is a enters into the what we can call it as a food chain. So that's why we can call it as a biomagnification. If suppose in the general environment, if we will if it is there, then we can call it as a bioaccumulation. Once it is enters into the food chain, that is a biomagnification. They will store in the fatty tissues, and then most of the muscles and also other body parts, these PCBs will be have. And then they are they are how quickly they can take up and also eliminated by the from the organism. So there are various animal species are also there. They will transform the polychlorinated benzenes into carcinogenic. So the rate of physical mechanism of the PCB metabolism, that is mainly depend on the both animal species and also the species which we can which they consume, we can say that. So if the what we can call it as an aquatic environment, so the concentration of the PCBs is greater, especially in the shellfish, and also other if you will compare with that one. And then on land, that is the on earth, biomagnification that occurs through the accumulation of PCBs from the soil at the plant levels. And for the humans, that will be accumulated from the food. On an average, the concentration of the PCBs in the especially in the fatty tissue is 100 times greater than the food that will be eaten. So this is and it is and it is persistent in the general atmosphere also for the longer duration, for 100 years, we can say that. And sunlight is also play a major role to break down the PCBs which is present in the air, water as well as the soil surface. And now we'll move on to the eutrophication of lakes. So if you will see that there is a nutrient enrichment of lakes, that is mostly from the runoff from the plant nutrients, that is from the fertilizers which are used in the what we can call it as, what we can say that the fertilizer or the fields. So normally the farmers, what will they will do, they will apply the nutrients to the fields in the form of chemical fertilizers or in the form of what we can call it as manures. So that will provide crops for the with the nitrogen as well as the phosphorus, which is of course necessary for the growth as well as to produce the good yield. However, when the nitrogen and the phosphorus are not fully utilized by these crops or the growing plants. What they will do, the rest of that one lost from the farm fields, and then negate and then have the negative impact or the adverse impact in the air as well as the downstream water quality. So the excess of nitrogen as well as excess of phosphorus that will be washed from the farm fields into the waterways because of the rain or snow melting of the snow that can happen, and then they will enter into the groundwater for the longer duration. So there is a high levels of nitrogen accumulation as well as the phosphorus accumulation that causes the eutrophication of water bodies. So what will happen once the eutrophication is happened? It can lead to the that is a hypoxia. Normally, we can call it as in the scientific terms. That means the dead zones that can cause the damage to the fish. That is, it will kills the fish and decrease in the aquatic life. So excess of nutrients also causes the what we can call it as a algal blooms in freshwater ecosystem. So fertilized soils as well as the livestock operations are the functions of the livestock, and also the vulnerability of the nutrient losses to the air and nitrogen that can be lost from the farm fields into the form of gases or the nitrogen based like ammonia and then nitrogen oxides. So there are many ways that farmers can reduce the nutrient losses from their operations, like by adopting the nutrient management techniques, and also there are so many uh, uh, alternatives are also there. Uh, these are the groundwater pollution causes, and then how they will enter into the groundwater. So these I have explained that one, and then groundwater pollution prevention mitigation, and then how to monitor the aquifers, and then how to the farmers especially how they will adopt the sustainable nutrient management techniques, and then using the conservation drainage practices, and they have to ensure the what we can call it as year round ground cover. Normally it is the one phenomenon that they will plan the cover the crops or the perennial species to prevent the periods of that ground on farm fields when the soil are most susceptible to erosion and loss into the waterways. And also they can use the framework of the planting field buffers, and they can also implement the conservation tillage, and also they can manage the livestock access to the streams. So these are the some of the mitigation techniques one can use. And here the groundwater pollution prevention, there is a to modify the aquifers, and they have to find out the less hazardous substitutes, and they have to detect the leakage systems which are present, and then where the groundwater table is getting polluted, and they have to strictly regulate the hazardous waste disposal, and also they have to store hazardous materials above the ground. And we'll move on to the how these groundwater contamination from the waste disposal. Just I have given that, and then water table, and then water supply wells, and then this is a contaminated groundwater, and this is the waste disposal sites. I have given for your understanding, better understanding. I have given 2 to 3 slides, I hope. Um, and then how they are exposed to this one, and then this is also, and then ultimately all these get into these ocean pollution, and they will disperse and break down the large quantities of degradable pollution, and also pollution worse near heavily populated coastal zones. And then if the coastal zones are having the industries, they will directly emit this type of what we can call it as directly into the oceans. So the oceanic aquatic life also get polluted. So this is another slide, just I have given that this is the industry, the directly nitrogen oxides from the industries, they will and the heavy metals and the effluent that will flow into the bay of the estuaries, and then from the cities the toxic metals and oils which are coming from the streets and then parking, and then it will also sewage sites, the nitrogen and phosphorus will get into the water bodies, and then urban sprawl, and then construction sites, and also from the farmlands, and also the red tides, and also toxic sediments, and oxygen depleted ozone, and then here it is a healthy zone. So only this healthy zone the aquatic animals can survive. So this is the overall picture about the oceanic pollution. Ah. I hope this is the last slide. I want to give that one. So before going into that, the just what is the and then how much you have what is that the amount of pollution is directly related to the health outcomes. So that means there is an established document or the established fact, that is the epidemiological, toxicological, as well as the chemical clinical studies based. So there is an evidence that the environmental contaminants that can cause or contribute to the health effects, directly the human health as well as the environmental health, that is definitely challenging, and particularly for the health effects that occur, which is of course, even though it is a relatively smaller proportion to the population, maybe it is an exposure to the environmental contaminants, and then there is the factors which are related to the exposure as well as the health effects. And also there are many scientific studies are showing that a lot of case studies also they are showing that there is a environmental public health paradigm. So here the contaminant formation and release from source, and also transportation, that means how the pollutant, once it is entered into the general atmosphere, how it will transport or the transform in the ambient environment, and then how it will expose to the ambient environment, maybe it is an individual or to the community or general population overall, we can say, and enters into the body, that how much concentration, what would be the dose. And then here we can say that the biomonitoring indicators are there, and then altered structure and function, and then adverse health outcomes, and finally health outcome indicators, we will go for it. So this is the environmental public health paradigm I want to give overall. And this is the what can we do for the water pollution. Of course, there are so many mitigation measures one can use. That means here I have given but in as far as the common sense is concerned, use less water, that means clean fresh water. That means we should not waste the resource first. And the second thing is the to avoid the pouring or releasing the chemicals to the drain. And another one is the contamination purposes, or the how much concentration of the chemicals or the toxic chemicals, maybe it is a mercury or whether it is a lead contaminations. So many homes or the domestic purposes, lead pipes are there. For general example, I want to give that. So these connections on the pipes that carry water to the homes, normally this lead, which is the lead from the lead pipes, that will enters into the drinking water and also cause the medical problems, in especially in the younger children. So and then if you want to test the water, the if lead is present, you have to install the filters that definitely solve the problem. And do not pollute the outdoor water sources, and do not pour any oil or chemicals into the drainage system. Ultimately it will enters into that one. So we have to enjoy our environment, and we have to enjoy the water for eating, drinking, cleaning, swimming. So just we have to remember the how to use the scarce natural resources very very carefully. So do not waste or pollute the limited precious resources. With this I would like to conclude, and if anybody is having any doubts, so you can ask in this one. Hope I have covered most of the topics or the subsections of your course. So if any doubts are there, you're most welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any doubts?
Madam, it's a nice presentation. May I will request to do the sea spray.
Please, pardon, sir.
Sea spray.
Sea sprays. Yes, of course. Sea sprays are the most important because the automatically they will generate, no, sir, sea sprays. So that is also highly polluted one.
Madam, what are those?
There are so
What
many.
are those?
Acha, do you want some examples of that one?
Ma'am.
So for the sea sprays, I will verify and then I will give that examples especially. So let me check that water pollution if any sea sprays are available. So I have to check the. Just let me check first. So meanwhile, so I'll give you some examples of that one. Just give me some time. How they will pollute, and then there is a lot of a big mechanism for that one, and then it is a what we can call it as a how it will get polluted, and then just a second. That is comes under the especially the aerosols. These are the which are formed especially from the atmosphere by the there is an there is a what we can call it as especially the salt, the sea which is having a the general just a second I will tell you, which are naturally formed from the ocean, that is mostly by the ejection into the earth's atmosphere by bursting the bubbles at the air as well as the sea interface, whatever it is the World Health Organization definition. I have seen that, and then how they will form. There is a biggest mechanism that the both organic matter as well as the inorganic salts which are present in the sea salt aerosol itself. That means the sea, of course, we know that there is a salt water. There are a number of inorganic salts which are present in that one, and then whenever they will evaporate, there is a bubble formation in the interface of the air as well as the water, the sea water especially. So once it is formed, they will emit the salt into the general atmosphere, which can cause, if you will see that seashore, I think you must be experiencing also a humidity, and then also which is having a lot of air pollution, the air which is present on the seashores and then the air which is present in the general in the city. If you will see the difference, there is a the scientific studies which are reported, especially the sea salt aerosol, which are the comprises of the inorganic salt. So the examples, we will see that. Just they have not given that one example, we can go for it. So these are the direct interaction with the, just let me. These are the nitric acid. They have given that. Just give me a second. They are the sodium chloride, that is what we are inorganic salt, and also the salts of potassium, magnesium, calcium, as well as the sulfate. So these are the naturally existing substances or the inorganic salts which are present in the seawater. So once they will get evaporated, they will enter into the what is that general atmosphere as an air pollutant in the form of bubble. That is a bubble bursting is there, and then there is a substantial amount of organic matter is also present. So these are the magnesium, calcium, sulfate, as well as the potassium inorganic salts.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Any more questions? So if no questions are there, we can wind up, sir.
Good day, ma'am.
Okay, please.
Ma'am, please can we get the slide for this presentation?
Yeah, you can get. I will send it to the regional director. Then you can access that.
Oh, okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions? Shall we wind up, sir, now? So over to RC. Classroom RC to Bhubaneswar. So we can wind up, students. So you will get definitely the presentation. I'll send it to the regional center. I think this session is already recorded. So you can also watch this recorded version of my class. They will upload on the portal. Anyone? So we can leave now.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, Miss Kripa.